Everyone knows that after 30, 40 years old, training should be avoided. The reason is pretty simple. The body is going towards decomposition, let's say, and for this reason, it's better to avoid any risk with injuries, training, and even a nutritional status unbalanced towards the protein. Joking aside, today we talk about training nutrition, in particular with a small topic for men, talking about testosterone, aged from 30, 40 plus. Okay, let's go. Talking about strength, energy, and longevity. So, after a while, the body starts to get older. And in this case, what happens is that we have some changes in the metabolism and in recovery. There is an important part that needs to be done in order to avoid the bad consequence of getting older. And this should be done both in the gym and in the kitchen. Why? Because basically the importance of strength training becomes always higher. The reason for that is very simple. Basically, our body gets more fragile, basically, and we need to compensate. So we need to do a proper strength training in order to recover some muscle loss, called even sarcopenia, and even for the energy preservation, because the loss of muscle will allow us to feel weaker and less energetic during the day. And more we feel less energetic, less we practice, more the sarcopenia goes on, and we will always do less and less, to the point that even the daily actions will be a struggle. So it's very important in this case to start to do upper strength training and try to rise the strength level thanks to the gym sessions, basically. So towards a program based on strength that will allow us to get stronger instead of weaker, and to increase even our energy, even using some cardiovascular exercises. Of course, after 30, 40 years old, there is even the hormonal shift. So we have a decrease of the testosterone training, first of all. So it's very important to be misconception that after 30, 40 years old is not possible, or not, yes, let's say it's not possible to increase the amount of muscle in our body. That's totally not true. Instead, especially for people who never did a proper workout or never followed a training plan, this is very suggested, because normally the muscle amount in the body is very small, and in this case it's very suggested to increase it thanks to workout sessions. So how to do that? With a normal strength training, so normal resistance training. So we need to focus on the main compound lifts, as squat, bench press, deadlift, for example. Even if they look like dangerous, they are not dangerous if, of course, done in a proper way. In this case, he suggested to hire a personal trainer that can follow you if you never done it. Or there are even some tutorials online, but of course, try to do as safe as possible. But the important part is to try to raise the strength in those lifts that are the main one. But even the other exercises, even the machine, are very useful, because increasing the strength level will allow you to be, strangely, with more longevity in the long term. The reason is very simple. Basically, we go towards a cycle of getting weaker, having less energy, and always get worse as a whole. So the body gets worse and worse. And instead, if we break this cycle and we go towards an improvement of the body, even the course of the events, let's say, will go slower with us. Actually, we can kind of reverse, so getting even older slowly on the long term. Of course, it's important to focus on the nutrition, even on this part, because nutrition is a key player in this side. And we can even use mobility and flexibility training for joint health in order to improve our joint condition, basically. So, to summarize this part, progressive overload is mandatory. Nutrition is beside, literally, does the 50% of the lift. And even some mobility and flexibility exercises are useful in order to improve our condition. The cardio, okay, let's talk about cardio. So strength and cardio are basically two different exercises, two different routines, but they are both important because the strength will allow us to improve our strength, our muscle condition. The cardio instead will affect much more the cardiovascular system. So the way we use the nutrients, the way we manage our energy. So that's why it's still important, it's very important to focus even on the cardiovascular side in order to improve even this side of the physical condition. Of course, as we say, consistency beats intensity. So it's better to focus on some exercises, some workout routines that will allow us to work out on the long term, because it's not just a few months or couple of years that will allow us to be more, to feel better physically and to live longer. Actually, is the consistency. So we want something that will allow us to go to the gym on the long term. That's the most important part. Nutrition. Okay. So talking about nutrition, there is the focus on protein, because of course we are dismounting our body, and as any training program, especially the resistance training, basically we are dismounting with heavy lift that will affect basically the muscle in general. So it's important to prioritize the protein intake in order to have a quicker recovery for the muscle. And that's why we need to keep a range between 1.2 or 2.0 grams for kilograms of body weight. So that's important to rise a bit compared to the normal range that is indicated for people. Of course, don't worry, this is not a risky amount if you don't have any condition for the kidneys and everything. No worries at all. This is extra safe. Actually, even doubling this amount is okay. So you don't have any risk that is tested. But of course, this is the safe range. So don't worry for that. Then talking about fats. So fats are very important for the hormonal support. So it's important to intake the fats from good sources like the vegetable, for example. We can take from olive oil, nuts, avocados, for example, and even the carbs can be taken optimally around the session. So before and after, there is a kind of optimal windows for taking the carbs. The reason why is very simple. Basically, there is a kind of competition between the fat cells and the muscle cells through the GLUT4 receptors. And in this case, what happens is that when we do the workout, there is a kind of stimuli in the muscular cells that will cut much more the carbs around instead of the fat cells. That's why it will be very important to give this input around the workout. So before the workout, the carbs will be the more around the basically in the blood, let's say, so ready to use. And immediately after, will be cut much more from the protein muscle, from the muscular cells, sorry. Of course, we need to balance all the meals. Okay, talking about hydration, that's fundamental for energy and recovery. Remember that we are made basically from water, and without a good hydration, basically our body doesn't work properly. So that's very important too. Let's talk about the testosterone. Okay, the key hormone. So testosterone is fundamental for muscle growth, but it's even important for fat metabolism and energy. Normally there is a decline after 30, 40 years old. And what happened? That the levels will decrease 1%, around 1% per year after this age. And this, of course, will have an impact on the body, because basically the body will be affected with, and this can affect even the performance in the gym, but even the mood and the feeling, because the testosterone doesn't affect only the muscular side. But this should not stop you from going to the gym, because basically 1% is a small amount, and this small amount basically you cannot even perceive normally, but it's more mental things, because lots of people think that with getting older, basically the effect that you have from the workouts and in general from all the sessions that you have in the gym is not enough to improve and whatever. But quite often I can tell that I had even clients 60, 50, even 70 years old that they were improving a lot, just going towards a proper workout routine. The problem is that the workout routine, the nutrition is correct for what you're doing. So remember, testosterone will decrease, 1% per year. But this 1%, even after 30 years, is 30%. Is 30 is 1/3 of your capacity, let's say. That is a big number, but is this really a big number, or there are more important factors that are obstacles, that are in the middle, in the road, basically, of what you want to achieve? That's the point. So don't stop to go to the gym just for this reason. And actually try to progress, because more you go to the gym, basically more you have like a reduced decline of the testosterone levels. Sounds a bit controversial, but that's normal, because basically we are stimulating our body. In fact, as you can see, the strength training, especially heavy lift, can have a positive effect on the testosterone levels. And of course, in general, the lifestyle impact. So poor diet, stress, and lack of sleep have a bigger effect on this. So it's important to do a proper workout routine for long term. So the consistency on the long terms. Focus a lot on the sleep, quality sleep, 7 hours, and of course on the stress. And even talking about nutrition, on food rich in zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D. And that's why it's very important to have a correct nutrition. Then, of course, this will have the most important effect on the body natural testosterone levels. Common pitfalls. Of course, we have overtraining without recovery, because some people think that going to the gym and do as much as possible, this is a good way. Unfortunately not. We need to balance the effort that we put in the gym, because as we say in the beginning, basically we don't need to do something that is not effective. We need to push on something that is challenging for us. But at the same time, we don't need to go to the other side, so with the overtraining, because this will affect our recovery and, of course, the stress level and the testosterone levels. That's why it's important to have a balanced amount of exercise, of sets, and everything in the gym. So be balanced. Need to be challenging for you, but not too extreme and not too easy as well. Then relying on processed food or excessive supplements. Why? Because indirectly, if we rely too much on supplements, or we take too many processed food, we take less natural food, let's say. So less fruits, less vegetables, and this can affect, of course, the amount of micronutrients that we intake. And of course, this can have an effect on our body and testosterone levels. Ignoring mobility and flexibility work, I mean, this one can affect the recovery, the joint health, so that could have an effect on that. But the most important probably is the sleep hygiene that is impacting hormones a lot. Everyone knows that after a bad night, you feel so messed up, and there is a reason why. So this is the most important thing that you need to take care of. So avoid these traps to stay strong and energized on the long term. Okay, actionable step. So what to do? So first of all, create a simple and consistent training plan. Why? Because, as we said, this is the basic. So we need something that is challenging, not too easy, not too hard, and that keeps you going to the gym on the long term. That's the most important part. It's not 1 month, it's not 1 year, it's on the long term. Because more consistent you are in the gym, better you will feel on the long term, because the daily activities will feel less heavy on the long term. Because if you can see a 70-year-old man that is going to the gym regularly and another 70-year-old man not going to the gym for years or never, maybe, there is a huge gap between them, and you will notice immediately which one of them is going to the gym or not. That's why it's so important that you keep on going to the gym consistently. I don't want to say for the rest of your life, but yes, I want to say for the rest of your life. This is probably the healthiest decision that you can have in your life. So don't neglect this. This is so important for you. Then, meal prep. Meal prep is very important in order to have all the nutrients that your body requires. So remember to be balanced, not eat too much, not too little as well. Be balanced, focus on fruit and vegetables. Remember your 5 a days. And aside from this, remember to incorporate even habits that will reduce meditation or sleep hygiene in routines. So remember to stay away from display before going to bed. Remember to, I don't know, put even some noise blocker or something that can have a positive impact on your sleep. That's very important, because remember, are the small daily actions that lead to long-term results. If you have any question, just put it on the comment section and we'll answer as soon as possible, or